Fitness influencer named Brianna Ortega met a sheriff's deputy at a festival, and he turned into a stalker. A black man with dreadlocks had jumped over her backyard fence and was trying to break into her La Quinta home. Almost immediately, Ortega, 29, suspected Deputy Eric Piscatella was there for other reasons. The encounter last summer wasn't the first time they'd met. It wasn't even the first time he'd shown up at her home unannounced, according to the arrest affidavit and it claims in a lawsuit. "You look pretty without makeup. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude or unprofessional." After spending a scant few seconds looking out a window for the perpetrated suspect, it was the fourth time in less than a year that Piscatella had either shown up at Ortega's home or contacted her without a legit reason from law enforcement. Ortega shared text messages showing the deputy tried to flirt with her and ask her out on dates, but she rebuffed him at every turn. Last year, Riverside County prosecutors charged Piscatella, 30, with 7 counts of illegally using law enforcement databases to look up information about Ortega. Instead of resolving the situation, Ortega says the way Piscatella's case played out in criminal court has only prolonged her ordeal. Ortega says she remains terrified of him and declined to testify against him. In July, a Riverside County judge downgraded all charges against him to misdemeanors. He pled guilty and received probation, avoiding jail time. Last month, Ortega fought a federal civil rights lawsuit against Piscatella, the department and Riverside County Sheriff, Chad Bianco. "I feel like with him getting the misdemeanor, nothing is ever going to change. If it takes me having to file this lawsuit, I will if it helps." Piscatella declined to comment through his defense attorney. A spokesperson for the Riverside County Sheriff's Department said Piscatella resigned last October after roughly 5 years on the job. His ability to work as a police officer in California is suspended, accreditation records show, but without a felony conviction it could be restored. Ortega recalled her first run-in with him as an innocent enough. She was attending what she describes as a family fair with her 2 sons in Coachella in September of 2023, enjoying amusement rides and carnival games, when she said her oldest son ran up to a group of officers who were giving out stickers. He was among them. She said they had a polite but forgettable conversation. They did not exchange contact information, but a few months later, in January of 2024, Ortega said she got a text from an unknown number. The text claimed to be her personal officer, a fitness influencer with more than 100,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram. Ortega gets random flirtatious messages from men, so she shrugged it off. The same month, Piscatella searched Ortega's name in the city of La Quinta in both the California law enforcement telecommunication systems and other sheriff's databases shortly before the texts were sent. In Ortega's civil suit, she alleged this was how he tracked her down. 1 month later, he showed up at Ortega's La Quinta home while she was at work. Her mother answered the door and was alarmed when the deputy questioned her where her daughter was. Still, Ortega wasn't bothered. "I'm like, he's a cop. He can be that crazy. He's on the force for a reason. Of course he knows where I live." Echoing claims in her lawsuit, "I'm not thinking he's going to continue to look for me or stalk me. If I would have known, I would have complained." Ortega was so unfazed that she actually went to Piscatella for help a month later. Her younger sister had been the victim of an assault and was struggling to get attention from the sheriff's department. So Ortega contacted the man who claimed to be her personal officer. But when Ortega began describing the perpetrated crime, Piscatella responded by asking her to send a selfie and insisting they should go to the gym together. Annoyed, Ortega eventually changed her number when instead of help, all she got was a picture of Piscatella wearing sheriff deputy clothes, according to the text message. Court records show he continued to use law enforcement databases to keep tabs on her in the months that followed. In May of 2024, he searched her name and ran her license plate. He did the same in July, right before showing up at her house, claiming he saw the man with dreadlocks break in. At that point, his interest in her had turned into obsession. Since he arrived just minutes after she returned from a trip to San Diego, she said it felt like he was waiting for her. She alleges in her lawsuit that the deputy used law enforcement resources and databases to stalk her. After letting him in, she recorded the deputy standing in her living room, talking to her children. She said she was confused, scared, and uncomfortable. especially after he asked for her new number, which she gave him out of fear. He texts her a short time later and describes her kids as so cool. I don't feel comfortable with everything that just happened. Please do not contact me again, she wrote back. She made a complaint to the sheriff's department the same day. Court records show the department launched an internal investigation and quickly determined that he had used law enforcement databases to look up information on Ortega several times, according to an affidavit seeking a warrant for his arrest. It shows where there was no corresponding call for service related to the day he showed up at Ortega's home and claimed someone was breaking in. Riverside County prosecutors filed 7 felony charges against him. Ortega said she refused to testify because even though the sheriff's department had presented a case against one of their own, she feared he or a fellow deputy might seek retribution against her. At a July court hearing in Indio, he made an open plea to the court seeking to downgrade each charge to a misdemeanor and avoid jail time. The Riverside County Deputy District Attorney Natasha pleaded with Superior Court Judge Hernandez not to accept the lesser charges. The defendant was a police officer, a sheriff's deputy, who used his position of power and the information he had access to as a result of that position to put someone in the community in significant fear for her safety. He searched information, conducted a search about a particular individual, and used that information to come up with an excuse to get into that woman's house, where he proceeded to hit on her and make her feel uncomfortable in her own home. But Hernandez rebuffed her attempts to argue the point further in this view. Nothing actually happened. He never broke into the house or threatened me. Hernandez sentenced him to probation and community service and ordered him to stay away from Ortega. Records show prosecutors have appealed the decision. A spokesperson for the district attorney's office would not say if Ortega's refusal to testify affected their ability to bring other charges, including the stalking allegation she made in the civil suit. The Riverside County Sheriff's deputy spokesperson declined to comment on the pending allegation. The entire ordeal left Ortega feeling like law enforcement failed her at every level. She noticed that he still knows where she lives. While she previously did not hold a negative view of police, now she says she turned the other direction and grows anxious anytime she sees a sheriff's deputy cruiser. It's a betrayal of trust from law enforcement. Who do you call when it's the police? Who do you call when it's the police? Who are the problem? When can you ever feel safe? You almost feel trapped in your own house.
From him, and I was like, who is this? And then he was like, oh, it's your personal deputy. Then he showed up to my house.
A brief interaction with a Riverside County deputy turns into a nightmare for one woman who claims the deputy used law enforcement databases to stalk and harass her. Welcome, everyone, to Fox 11 News at 5 o'clock, simulcast on our sister station, Fox 11 Plus. I'm Marla Tejas here for Christine Devine. Fox 11's Rachel Aragon. She's live for us in Universal City with an interview now you'll see only on Fox 11. Rachel?
Yeah, I spoke to a woman right now who's also a mother of 2. She tells me she now is speaking out to tell her story because she says she doesn't want anyone in power to abuse their authority. She also tells me she doesn't want anyone else to be harassed like she was.
My son, my youngest one, he's a very talkative kid, so he went up to the police officers. And
Brianna Ortega says it was September 2023 when she and her sons had a brief interaction with law enforcement at a family event at Coachella. She says among the group was Riverside County Deputy Eric Piscatella.
I had a conversation with the sheriff, and that was that. I didn't think anything of it.
Brianna says no contact information was exchanged, but she says months later she started receiving unsolicited texts. She says she did respond to him because she needed police assistance for an issue her sister had. But she says his texts became more persistent and romantic and escalated when he showed up to her house unannounced while in uniform.
As soon as I got there, I had put my stuff down and I was walking to the bathroom, and then I hear banging on my door.
She says she let him in because he claimed someone was in her backyard and had jumped the fence. Brianna says she became suspicious and started recording this encounter.
Yeah, he was pretty without makeup. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude or unprofessional.
In the video, Brianna says you can hear him complimenting her and interacting with her kids.
What school do you guys go to?
That's when Brianna says she reported him to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Her attorney says after that, the department started an investigation.
It turns out he was using law enforcement databases to access her personal information, including her phone number and address. And he was charged criminally and ultimately pled to several misdemeanor counts as a result of this.
Brianna says nearly 2 years later, the fear of being harassed or stalked still lingers.
I just, in a bubble, I go to work, come back, and, had to put up cameras and, just try to protect myself the best way I can.
And we did reach out, of course, to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department about this lawsuit, which, by the way, was filed last month, and we are still waiting for a response. We're live in Studio City. Rachel Aragon, Fox 11 News.
And Rachel, what do we know about this deputy's current status since he did face misdemeanor charges?
Yeah, he is currently no longer with the department, of course, but again, the concern from the victim as well as the attorney, they told me today they don't want this. Similar things happening, of course, in other departments as well. So we'll see what happens there. But as you can hear from the victim herself just now, she was not pleased with those lesser charges.
All right, Rachel Aragon live for us.